Hi guys, welcome to another Divi Theme video. This is Jamie from System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. We got a great one for you today. Well, a little while ago we did these floating buttons. As you can see, they're all floating at independent speeds there, up and down. We had a great question. Somebody was using the Divi Supreme plugin, which has got a module that will allow you to put two buttons side by side, and they wanted to do the same effect on it. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to make them go up and down independently. As we can see on the left here, that's two Divi Supreme buttons right there. They're rolling up and down at the same rate. But I have come up with a little workaround so we can do it like this. Really easy to do, and the great thing about it is you don't actually need Divi Supreme Pro to do this today. We're just using regular Divi buttons. Divi Supreme Pro is awesome. If you want to learn more about it, I've got a playlist down below the video here. Okay, well, let's get started and I'll show you exactly how to do this. I'm going to enable my Visual Builder. Let's go down and we'll delete this whole row. In fact, let's delete the whole section. We'll start from scratch. Okay, well, I'm going to add a new section, little blue button to add a new section. I'm going to throw a regular section in there. In mine, I'm going to pop two columns. Let's just roll down so we can see it. Now, the guy that was asking the question was using the Supreme button module here. If I just pop one in, Supreme button right there, Divi Supreme gives you about 50 extra modules here, as well as 4 extensions. And I'll put click here for both, I guess. As you can see, once you put in a name for the button, it shows up there, and we've got two side by side. Let's just pop them in the middle. I've gone over to design and alignment. Obviously, you're going to want to put separate links in for each button. Button 1, button 2. I'm going to leave those just as they are. Now, I can apply the code to this, because if we look over here in the custom CSS, you might want to skip forward if you don't want to see this bit. I'm going to show you why this doesn't work, or that this doesn't work. If we go to module elements, each of these buttons has got a different class name, button 1, button 2. If you click on the little question mark there, ET, PB button 1, and you guessed it, ET, PB button 2. So you'd think we'd be able to go into the code up at the top here. Custom CSS will go to the free form, so we can actually write complex CSS. Let's write selector, which will target this module. I want to target those buttons in there that had a class name of ET underscore PB underscore button underscore 1. We'll open and close some curly brackets here, and we'll tell it what we want to do. Well, I want to create an animation, so I'm going to say animation. We'll give it a name of button float BFLT. That's my shorthand, if you will. I want it to run for, say, 4 seconds. I want it to be infinite, so it keeps going. Now, nothing's happening because we haven't actually created this animation, which we're going to do with keyframes. So if we drop down a bit now, and we're going to use this code in a minute, so we won't have to write it out again. I'm going to write at keyframes. Then the name that we gave it, BFLT. And we can open and close some more curly brackets here and tell it exactly what we want it to do. Well, all we're going to do to make it jump up and down is change the margin. So at 0%, or when the page loads, that would be beginning of second 1 of our 4 seconds up there. We'll open and close some more curly brackets. I'm going to say margin top, margin dash top, 0. So that way, it's going to start off in the position that it wants to be. I'm going to copy this a few times. Control C to copy, drop down, paste it back in there. That should do it. May want to add another one. At the 25% mark, I'm going to have the margin top at -20. So it'll go upwards by 20 pixels. Want to make sure you put the PX on the end. You don't have to have it for 0 there, but you do have to have it for any other number. And let's just copy this. And at 75%, I want it to be back up there as well. So I'll just paste that in there. At 50%, want it to be back where it was, which is 0. And then at the 100% mark, I want it to be back where it was, which is 0 again. But as you can see, nothing's actually happening. Let's take away that class name, so it's affecting the whole module. You see the whole module goes up there. Put that class name back in there. It's going to stop again, which is not what I want. So here's the easy workaround. I'm just going to copy this code right here. Actually, if I take away the button 1 again, so it's moving, when they hover on it, I actually want it to stop. So to make that happen, I can say selector, colon, hover, no gap between the two words there. We can just say animation none, and it'll stop when we put our mouse on it. Animation none. And when I put my mouse on it, it'll stop going up and down. They can read it, click on it, take your mouse off, it'll start animating again. But that's not what we want. We want those buttons to be coming up and down independently. So let's just copy this piece of code up here. I'll put this code down below the video, but it's a good idea to write your CSS code, as it's a great thing to learn. And it'll take your editing skills to a whole new level. So let's get rid of this. I'm going to trash that. Let's put in 2 little Divi buttons. Make sure we've got nothing in there. I'm going to hit the plus to add a new module. I'm just going to get a regular Divi button. I'm going to align it in the middle. Then I'm going to copy it. Just hit the 2 squares to duplicate. Obviously, with your button, you're going to want to give it a title. You want to give it a link down below to where you want to take people. But I want these side by side. I want them to look fairly similar to that Divi Supreme module's button module. To do that, let's just save what we've got here. I'm going to go into my row, the green tab. I'm going to go into the column that it's sitting in, which is column 1 on the left here. I'm going to go over to the advanced. I'm going to write a bit more custom CSS here. I'm going to go to the module elements tab, to the main element. And again, I'll put this down below, but it's very, very easy. I'm just going to say display, colon, flex. As you can see, those buttons have jumped up and they're now side by side. But I don't want them touching each other like that. So let's add another little line. I'm going to put a semicolon in there. I'm going to say justify content. Justify dash content, colon. I'm going to say space dash evenly. And that spaced them out within the space that we've got there. It's popped up a little flag here. So I'm not worried about that. I've tested it on Brave, I've tested it on Edge, Firefox, and we're on Chrome here. Works absolutely perfectly. And that's basically giving it the same space, left, middle, and right all around it, even amount. Now, if you want them tighter, Supreme Modules buttons were a little closer together. We can adjust the padding to make that happen. So let's go back into our design tab here. Spacing is always where you'll find padding. Spacing left, try 50 pixels. If I hit the chain, it'll do the right hand side as well. Getting them a little bit closer, try 80 pixels. That's fine, something like that works perfectly for me. Now we want to make sure that this works on tablet and mobile too. So let's hover over. It's common to all Divi modules. If you hover over the dark writing within a module, you see some icons appear. If there's a little phone type icon, we can check it on tablet. Scroll down, a little far apart. Give it a little bit more press. Try 120. Yeah, that's close enough for me. And the reason that's bouncing up and down is because of this here. I needed to give that row a little more height there. But that's nothing to do with this. Okay, and let's have a quick look on mobile. And let's squash them up too much. Let's take all of the padding away just by putting a 0 in there for mobile. Yeah, that's going to work perfectly. Fantastic. Well, let's save our changes now. And we actually create the animation. Okay. What we want to do is we'll save our row settings there. We'll go back into our modules here. Each one of these modules, we need to give that code. So I'm going to go into my first button. over to the advanced, custom CSS. We want the freeform CSS for this today. I copied that code before, so I'm going to copy it again, Control C. I'm going to paste it into our little box here. As you can see, it's actually the one on the left we're affecting now is jumping up and down over that 4-second period. It's making the whole page jump. We don't want that, and I'll show you how to fix that in a moment. I'm now going to go into my next button. I'm going to save what we've got going on here. I'm going to go into the next button. Advanced, custom CSS, freeform. I'm going to paste this one in this one too. Now I know it looks like they're jumping up and down at different rates there, but when I save this and sync it, they'll be jumping up at the same timing. If I change the timing here to perhaps 6 seconds, they'll have different rates from each other. I'm actually going to change the name of the animation. I'm just going to put a 1 on this one, so they've got slightly different animations to work with each. So to stop this whole page jumping, I'm going to save my changes here. I'm going to go into the row, the green tab. I'm going to give it a fixed height, because as you can see, that row is expanding up and down there. Go into the row, the green tab. I'm going to go over to design, sizing. I'm going to give it a minimum height, let's say 200 pixels. That should cover that spread there. Just put in the 200, it'll put the pics. As you can see, that page is no longer jumping up and down. And you want to check that for tablet and mobile also. You know how to do that. Just get that up. You can have different values for that and that also. And we should be good to go. Let's save our changes here. And make it a little bit more interesting, perhaps by putting something in this section here. I'll just give it a bit more padding on the top. Blue tab for the section. Spacing. Give it perhaps 15 viewable height for the top there. We'll throw a little background in there just for fun. We'll use an image. I'll put that same in as I did before. That makes it look a little bit more interesting. Let's save our changes here now. Save the page changes. Save draft or publish if you're ready. And let's exit the Visual Builder. And we'll go down. And there's our little side-by-side buttons. As you can see, they're floating up and down independently from each other, which is just exactly what we wanted. So there you have it, guys. I hope that's explained that for you. Don't forget that code's down below the video. Once again, this has been Jamie from System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. Don't forget, if you have any questions, pop them down below the video. I'll do my best to answer them for you, or make a little demo video just like this one. If you've enjoyed this today, please give it a thumbs up, ring the bell, comment, share, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.